Well, again, cartoon tank lovers. I can't imagine there's too many of us, but I love these things. Although I've never built this brand of cartoon tank. This is a Trumpeter. Trumpeter makes realistic looking model kits. It's just that they also have a bunch of four of these cartoon tanks, probably to capitalize on what Meng model is doing with their World War II stuff. Okay, well, it's not much to the box, it seems. But anyways, this is the Sturm Tiger, which is a pretty interesting tank that was developed in the late part of World War II. It was meant for heavy infantry support, and they took a depth charge launcher from the Navy, and it was an adaptation, and that became this rocket-propelled artillery, or a rocket-propelled, gun, and it could take out buildings and stuff like that. There was one event where it actually took out a bunch of Sherman tanks, apparently. It was built on the Tiger 1 chassis, I believe, or Tiger chassis, meaning it's a heavy tank. So we're talking over 60 tons of weight. And it was powered by a Maybach V12, making around 700 horsepower. So it had around, 11 PS per ton to move it around. Alright, so let's take a look at this thing. Yeah, the color obviously is not to my liking, but they don't have realistic versions as far as the plastic goes. It's even got some crazy decals, but... So anyways, the instructions look pretty simple, right? You just gotta look at some part numbers and arrows. And so, I will do that. And let's take a look at the parts now. Okay. The tracks look awesome. What I don't like about those Meng tank tracks is they're rubber, so paint doesn't want to stick to them. And B, they just don't look very realistic because it's rubber, because they're very thick and toy-like. Whereas these actually look like realistic tank tracks. I don't want to break these things. Hold on here. So what is this? It's nicely detailed tracks, and I think it's a piece of string. Yeah, that's molded in here. So it's quite flexible. I guess the last thing you gotta do is just glue this bit together right here to complete the loop. So anyways, what I like about this is the tracks should be able to sag like real tank tracks, because these are made of metal in the real world. Whereas those rubber tank tracks that Meng does, they don't really sag. So these are awesome. Alright, very nice. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, got the decal. No, we got some metal pieces like axles. I believe that spring might be to keep the turret pointed upwards. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what those two little rods are for. So, we'll take a look at the quality of the plastics, but I honestly don't care so much because I'm going to repaint this for sure. I'm not really in the mood to have a pink and purple tank. I'm going to try to repaint it to look like a camouflage, how they look. Some sort of livery that existed in World War II. But I gotta say, the plastic doesn't look so bad. There's some lines here from the mold process, though. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up. Really thin lines, but that's fine. Yeah, you got hatch details. Yeah. Some, they look like screw heads, but I don't think these are screwed together. Not by something that looks like a Phillips head. Okay, well, that's that part. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, the exhaust or engine intake details look pretty nice. But again, it's weird. They have like Phillips head screw details. I think everything back then would have had like a hex head bolt. Alright, the skirts. Yeah, see, so these are hex heads. That makes sense to me. Anyways, oh, it's nice that it actually tells you. They're saying this is around 172 scale. Okay. Bearing in mind it's a cartooned tank, so I'm not sure if they're going off the width. It must be off the width of the tank. All in all, the plastic seems pretty good. So there's the really short mortar thing here. Alright, the purples. Okay. So, last thing with the decals here. And, well, I'll let you take a look at them. I am not sure if I'm going to use these decals. Maybe I'll put them on something else later on, like a Gundam I could understand, because those are complete fantasy vehicles. Oh, it's actually tape. Yeah, there's some flaming cat heads. They're the strangest flames I've ever seen because they have green on them. And then two cats reading a map, and it looks like a fox with some binoculars. Penguin saluting, and an angry tiger or something. Sturm Tiger. Right. We shall see. It's highly improbable I'm going to use those. I don't think there's anything else in here, so... Alright. Well then, as usual, I'm going to fast forward this video, and we'll see you at the end, and I'll talk about any problems I run into, or what I end up doing.
now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
So here we are, and I'm trying to think what really went wrong. Not much, actually. It's a pretty straightforward build. I guess one issue is the two halves. There's a top and bottom half of this ball, and I recommend you glue them because they don't want to stay, perfectly shut. So I shut them and then crazy glued the outside of them. There is a spring in here, and that keeps the turret in this position. So that's nice. Obviously, I forgot to add more brown there. I didn't paint it with the turret down, but that's okay. One thing I didn't actually pay attention to is there's two windows here on the real Sturm Tiger, and I've zimmerited right over this and then realized in photos that there's windows there, so I had to scrape out the zimmerit, put some black there. This is supposed to be hollow as well. It's a sight window of some sort. The machine gun's quite stubby. I could have added a different one, but I'm going to just leave it alone. Leave it be. I have a different video on the Liang branded zimmerit applicator and paste. It seems to work very well. As you can see here, I just put it on really sloppy, and then I scratched off a lot of extra, and I think it actually looks like zimmerit, so I think that's good stuff. I only used this one decal, the Fox or whatnot, with the binoculars, and it's a real shame it doesn't actually have any sort of German markings. The only other thing is I put the Sturm Tiger there, and apparently it got all messed up. The beautiful thing about this particular kit is the tracks. It turns out those metal pins, I didn't know what they were before. They're what combine the tracks together. There's literally a steel pin in one of these links. Maybe it's right there. And so this thing will, the tracks do move. but they don't have extra sag. You know, I wish it had like 2 or 3 extra links, because the tank really wants to look like that, you know, with the weight of the steel. Really, even more. I think they want to be resting on the top of the eaves. Okay, so that's a real shame they didn't add that, but I mean, these are leagues better than the stuff from Meng. I mean, these look like real tracks, so very nice. I saw an online build where the person moved this thing somehow. Maybe he broke it off, and then he hung an actual rocket off of it. I thought about doing it, but I didn't have anything like this diameter that looked like a rocket. Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, some of the parts look kind of thick, you know, the skirts here look very thick, but this is a very cartoon thing, and it's meant for children, I think, to put together. I just like cartooned vehicles, so I prefer this over a realistic looking Sturm Tiger. It still looks like a Sturm Tiger because it has all these wheels. I almost wish they got rid of one of these wheels so it looks even more cartoonish, and maybe even shrunk it shorter. I do have some black pigment there, and I had some brown rust pigments down by the wheels, and I clear coated this like 3 different times. Because I zimmerited most of the sides, I didn't bother with doing any real paint chipping. This type of paint chipping is like putting down gray paint on top of this camo and then putting a little bit of metallic paint inside that gray paint, so it looks like it chipped and then the primer is showing. But I don't find it as realistic looking as actually spray painting it black, then hairspray, then metallic, then hairspray, then camo, and then removing the camo paint, like as if it was really chipped. But whatever, I'm trying out different ways of making models, and I think all in all it still turned out okay. So pleasantly, even though this says 1/72 scale, I really do question that. If anyone's built the 1/72 scale of a Sturm Tiger, is it really this big? I don't think so. I think it's going to be much smaller than this. Maybe this is 1/48 if I had to guess, but I don't know. Because I don't make realistic looking model tanks. But this is around 68 millimeters wide, and that's the only thing I would imagine you would go off of. Or maybe it's like 70 millimeters. You can't really go off the length because it's shortened, and I don't know about the height either. I guess you could say the height of the hull is like 60 millimeters. So I'd be curious if anyone's built a realistic looking Sturm Tiger and they can make a guess as to what scale this is, either by width or height. Not just for me, but anyone else, you know, just that's looking to build this kit might want to know. Reason being is because you might want to have figures next to them. Right? I have this little Bandai Kunamin Blocken figure. So going back to those Meng tanks. So here's the Porsche Tiger, and you can see. Now this is a Porsche built Tiger, so I don't know if it was really much bigger than the. I think this is a Henschel built chassis, but correct me if I'm wrong. But this thing just looks monstrous, right? So, but it's still, I think, in the same realm. I think you can display it with it. Eventually I'm going to build the Trumpeter Tiger 1, and I'm eventually going to build the Meng model Tiger 1, and then we'll really know for sure if they're compatible. But here's a KV-1, which is a heavy tank, and now they look, you know, both of them look like heavy tanks of the same universe. Right? And then, just for comparison, here's a light tank, a M24 Chaffee, and that's smaller than the 2 heavy tanks. So I think, you know, if you've got a collection of Meng tanks going already, you can definitely buy the Trumpeter, and I think it'll fit in pretty nice. Yeah, they're all cartoon tanks, so you can't really take them too seriously, but alright, let's get a low angle on this one. Yeah, very neat. It's very cool. Again, the tracks are really nice. There's nothing really difficult to assemble. In fact, a lot of the parts, they're just friction fits. I glued a few, but I had to drill out some holes though because of the paint, because I clear coated the thing like 2-3 times. I drilled out the holes before I put that box on, and maybe before I put the that jack on the back there, because all the clear coat filled in the holes. So all in all, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Trumpeter cartoon tank build. Bye.